Hello my quilting friends! My name is Leah Day and welcome to this long arm quilting tutorial. Today I want to teach you how to use the mini slide ruler. This is a continuous curve ruler that I've created for Grace Company, and it has the same curve on both sides and it's 7 inches long, so it's going to fit into your hand really nicely and you're going to use it to do lots of creative shapes and designs. So let's jump on the machine. I can't wait to teach you how to use this new ruler. So I'm getting started with the mini slide ruler, and I want to stitch basically a curving line that continues all the way down to the edge of my quilt. So what I'm going to do is line up a 1/4 inch from the edge of the ruler. There's a line etched here that's a 1/4 inch away from the edge, and that's basically your starting point whenever you want to do continuous curve. So I'm going to line that up, and I'm also lining it up with a seam line here so I know it's going to be straight to the quilt all the way down. Now I'm going to grip that firmly, make sure it doesn't slip, and then guide the machine right up against that curve. And the key with ruler foot quilting is always just to make sure that your foot doesn't slip away from the ruler and the ruler doesn't slip out of position on the quilt. So it's just slow and steady. And now we're going to stop a 1/4 inch away from the end as well. So you just want to look and keep an eye on those marks that are one from the end. And one thing I got to say, it really helps to have something grippy on the back of your ruler. In this case, I've got some true grips stuck to the back of the ruler. I really think that's helpful. Okay, so now let's talk about the continuous curve, because this is really, I think, one of the keys of this ruler. So I can be quilting from this direction, I can also flip it and go this direction. It's the exact same curve. So I'm going to stitch up, and let's space out some lines 1/2 inch away. So now instead of having to obsess about the marks and lines in the ruler, I can just simply line up the etched line that is one from the edge on the ruler. I can line that up with the line I just stitched. Get my ruler foot right up against it and stitch on down. And this is going to definitely speed things up. But again, I do want to make sure to stop a 1/4 inch from the end. But here's the thing, you really don't even have to worry about that. You can always flip the ruler. Like I said, it's the same curve on both sides. You can just rotate it around just like that, and you're back on track again. So you don't even have to really worry about stopping or starting in the right place. Just stop whenever it doesn't feel right to you. Rotate the ruler around and just simply match up. I just find that visually it just is very quick for me to line up that etched line with the line that I've stitched. It's just kind of matching. But if it works better for you to stitch all the way to the end to that line 1/4 inch from the end and then shift the entire ruler over, it really doesn't matter. Both ways work great. Now what happens if your lines get off? Like for whatever reason your ruler slipped and then the lines aren't lining up very well. You know, your etched line isn't lining up. Well, stop kind of in the middle of the curve and shift it ever so slightly, get it back on track. And what you'll find, so long as your ruler is pressed up nicely against the foot, you'll keep that nice continuous curve going. You'll extend it just a little bit and get back on track. So one of my favorite designs is called flowing lines. I'm going to use this straight line here. I've got straight ends on this ruler for a reason, because sometimes every once in a while you just need to do a bit of travel stitching. Get a little distance, and then I want to space out and create a pocket. And a pocket can be irregular. You can space this out and have them come out really evenly. I think I want to do really irregular pockets. So what I'm going to do is line up my ruler, and I'm eyeballing a 1/4 inch away, and that's going to let me know that I'm going to run up and overlap that line. Hopefully I'm not going to overshoot it, but I can always adjust when I get closer to it. So here we go. I'm going to come up to it. Now if I start to overlap, then I could always stop and shift my ruler over if I needed to, but that turned out just exactly the way I wanted it to. And again, just eyeball that ruler placement and stitch on down. All right, so now from here, I can echo that line 1/2 of an inch away. You could go 1/2 of an inch, 1/4 inch, or 3/4 of an inch away, just based off of the lines etched on the ruler. So here we go. This is a situation where my line, for some reason down here, has started to get off. So I'm just going to rotate the ruler around and get back on track. There we go. Looks good. I think what I might do is wiggle off in this direction, head up against that diamond shape, and then just fill in that area with the wiggly grid. And I call wiggly grids matrix. Matrix is a beautiful design, and it's really useful if you want to flatten out an area of your quilt. It's basically a wiggly grid. You know, it's instead of straight lines and sharp angles, you have curves. Once you get the ruler in position, just guide the machine in that direction. There we go. A really funky grid is coming together. Let's stitch a few closer lines so that way that looks consistent. Since I stitched that one line that was much closer than the rest. Let's see what that looks like. See how much faster that is? Because all you have to do is be looking at the edge of the foot rather than having to do quite so much travel stitching when you space things out. Grab the slice ruler again. I'll be honest, I keep all 3 rulers, the slice, the mini slide, and the super slide. I keep them on my frame pretty much all the time right now because they're so useful, and you can just grab and go whatever shape you're needing, you know, whatever angle, whatever curve, and they're not so huge that they get in your way. So there we go. That's a beautiful curving matrix grid coming together. And we've got some flowing lines too. There's really so many beautiful things that you can do with the mini slide ruler.